actually building a shoe is more complex than building an automobile.
Only real content is gonna last. All that other nonsense is here today and gone tomorrow.
You are a developer of footwear at these major companies, Nike and Adidas. I want to understand, how do you make shoes? Just that question. So I'll start with kind of, what are the steps that the shoe kind of goes through from like the initial concept, the ideation, to the design? And then I have some follow-up questions, but how do you make shoes?
Well, that's a big question. I have heard in the industry that actually building a shoe is more complex than building an automobile. And I don't think you actually realize that until you step into a footwear factory and see everything that goes into building a shoe. Um, but I'll back it up to say that the overall process takes approximately 12 months to bring a shoe to market. There's instances where you can bring them quicker, like a new concept in 6 months. And then there's instances maybe on more technical product, performance product, that maybe takes 18 or 24 months. But on average, especially on the sportswear side of the business, about 12 months is the average to build product. So the way it starts is it basically starts with marketing, right? Marketing's role is to analyze the seasons before, identify holes in the marketplace, figure out what product is working, where you might need newness. You're analyzing numbers, you're watching trends, you're looking at what the corporate goals are, where the company wants to invest, and you're basically building a range plan, right? You're building your plan for the season that's going to hit a financial target with this much product, and this is how much will be carryover, this is how much will be new. And then with the new stuff, you then, as a marketer, you build a brief to say, okay, I need to build a low top basketball shoe from the vault, from whatever, whatever product they're picking, if they're picking an old product or if it's something brand new that they want to do. This is how much it's going to cost. This is what my margin needs to be. And here are kind of some trend elements that we're going after. And with that brief, they hand it over to design and development. So that marketing, design, and development are called the triad. And that's really the core group that gets after creating the product for the season. So that brief then goes to design and development, and there's a collaborative process that happens to talk through it about, okay, can we build it for this price? Does it have technology in it? What are those special things we need to know? What's the forecast? Is it going to be a 20,000 pair shoe, or is it going to be 150,000 pair? Because those are all critical things you need to know to build the product. So once everybody's kind of agreed upon how the product will move forward, then design takes that brief and they go through their creative process. Taking, again, seasonal trends, their ideation process, and they start sketching. And then there's a collaborative process that sort of happens, narrowing down the direction, right? Development, of course, would like to see it down to one direction, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you might early on have 2 or 3 directions for this idea. And once the design ideations are agreed upon, then that's when development really comes in and it gets handed over to the development team. And from that point in time, development then works either with a sample room to create products, on campus or locally, or they'll go directly to the factory and start working with the factories to get sample iterations built. And then it goes through this process of, building samples, having prototypes come back, making tweaks. You may take a trip to the factory and cram in several rounds of samples in a week or two's period of time versus like waiting for the back and forth of samples to be shipped and that whole process. And so that's what really kicks it off. Then you go into sample reviews with the larger teams and, you know, scrutinizing the product, making sure it's coming into cost, fine-tuning all the details. Usually there's about 2 major sample reviews before it's finalized and goes to sales samples. But yeah, that whole process takes about 12 months. Usually there's 1 or 2 trips to the factory, although with COVID, we've had to learn how to do things more digitally and remotely. Yeah, and at the end of that, you have a product that's signed off and, you know, hopefully a high margin and lots of volume and product that sells through with the consumers, and, you know, everybody's happy. You have a success story.